Can a smaller, made in the USA bike company keep up with all the other competition on the market? Let's talk about it. Hey guys, Josh here with Daily Mountain Bike Rider, and today I am reviewing the Guerrilla Gravity Megatrail. Now before I jump into the review, let me tell you about how I got to demoing this bike. I recently took a trip over to the East Coast because I live up in Washington State and found myself in the Atlanta, Georgia area. So before I headed out, I looked for local bike shops and I came across this place called Six's Pit in Canton, Georgia. Now, above any other shop that I saw in the area, these guys were known as having the best customer service, the best bike selection, and of course having some of the greatest demos around. So I contacted them, and within an hour I got an email back saying they would take care of me, I just need to make my way over there. So I showed up, and instantly I could tell this bike shop was something special. It was just a beautiful shop in general, they were very friendly, and they treated me like I had been there for a long time. So after talking with the owner, whose name was Angel, who gave me a tour of the shop, showed me their custom old school Chevy shop car that had 6 bike racks on it, which I thought was awesome. I said, Angel, what bike's gonna be best for me based on what I normally ride and the bikes that I love? And he said, dude, you should try out this Guerrilla Gravity Megatrail. So this one that he gave me is a 2017 frame, and they basically built it up themselves. Now, the 2018 version is the exact same, the same dimensions and rear shock as the 2017, but the biggest difference is the color. So before I talk about how the bike rode, let me talk to you about the spec that I got from Six's Pit. Going from the bottom to the top, has DT Swiss hubs and wheels. The wheels were the EX, I think 513s. On those were Maxxis Minions front and rear, and I think those were just a 27.5 by a 2.3 or 4, if I'm remembering correctly. Drivetrain is SRAM, and that is just a GX 1x11 with a race face crank up front. Brakes are the SRAM guides. Looking up at the cockpit, it was just a typical race face cockpit with a bar and stem and some grips that I don't remember about, but they did the job fine. A KS Lev Integra dropper post, and it was a little bit smaller of a dropper post, and on top of that was a WTB Volt saddle. Now, the real thing you want to know about, the suspension, and this thing was dialed. On the rear you have 150, or with a little bit of a change, 165 millimeters of travel. Mine was set up for 150, and this was built around the RockShox Super Deluxe, which is a fabulous air shock. And for the fork, it was awesome that I got to try out the MRP ribbon, and this thing was 170 millimeters. MRP, like Guerrilla Gravity, is a smaller, really growing company out of the Colorado area, and I've heard nothing but rave reviews about this fork. So I got my bike, loaded up my rental car, and went up north to a place called LJ so I could ride Pinhoti 1 and 2 in Bear Creek, which is an awesome ride. So first off, let's talk about climbing. For being such a big bike, 150 millimeters in the back, 170 up front, you just assume it's going to climb like a beast. But like every other bike I've ridden nowadays, it climbed really well. Yes, I needed to lock out the suspension, and yeah, it was definitely a lot of weight and not the best geometry for climbing, but the bike did great. For a long slug or even going up a little steeper things, it was awesome. Now, the pros about the bike I really liked. First off, when I hear the word planted, from now on, I'm going to think about the Guerrilla Gravity Megatrail. This bike has just a really long wheelbase, it's got a slack fork, especially with the longer one I had on it, and this bike was glued to the ground in all the right ways. The second thing I really liked about it was while it was glued to the ground, if you were going a little slower, under speed, the bike was very playful. And what I mean by playful was it wasn't necessarily twitchy or easy to pop off everything, but as soon as you were going at a high speed and you wanted to throw that bike around, it was quick to get off the air. Now, along with it being planted, along with it being very playful under speed, the third thing I really liked is there was a lot of room in the reach of this bike. I rode a medium, I'm 5'9", and the bike felt like a large to me. It was actually so much reach, and I really did enjoy it, that I thought I might need to scale down a size a little bit. So that's good to consider for you guys who like a little more room in your cockpit. Now, there was some things I did not like about the bike. And of course, having really long reach and wheelbase, And being a planted bike, you can assume this bike did not do very good at slow speed maneuvering. I noticed if there was even just a little bit of Rudy technicalness or just some tight switchbacks on a climb, this bike is not designed to do that. Along with that, at slow speeds, it was really hard to get the front wheel up. Just bunny hopping in any normal maneuver, you felt like you were on a bike designed to go downhill. Now, I don't really count that as a big negative because the bike is pretty clear about what it's designed to do. And my favorite detail on the bike is right on the top tube. It says, "I like going fast." And if you listen to the directions the bike was designed with, the top tube decal, you will quickly find that you will love this bike. After a whole day doing 3,000 feet of vertical and 23 miles, my end result of the Guerrilla Gravity is I never felt like I pushed the limit of where this bike could go, but I wanted to ride it some more to see if I could find it. I felt like if I was doing all lift access and didn't want like a double crown downhill bike, but I wanted something to be able to use on my normal Enduro or just normal trails, this bike would be perfect. It's definitely meant to take a beating because it's aluminum and it's built really well. It wants to go super fast, and the biggest thing I noticed is this bike was a confidence booster unlike any other. I don't think I've felt so confident under speed on almost any other bike I've ridden. So overall, if you're in the market for a new bike and you're looking at the Megatrail, I would say if you are just a speed demon, if you love doing more downhill oriented things, if you just live to be planted as you're flying down the mountain, then this is the perfect bike for you. But if you're like me and you're looking for more of a well-rounded bike that you can have a one do-it-all bike, you may want to steer away from this. Not because it's trying to trick you into buying it, but because it's pretty clear about what it's meant to do. But at the end of the day, like I always say, it's up to you. Go find a local demo, throw a leg over this bike and try it out for yourself and see if it works for you. All right, that's it for me, Josh with Daily Mountain Bike Rider. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked the video, please make sure to click the like button down below and click subscribe so you can see all the bike reviews I do on this channel. And last but not least, if you have any questions or want any further information about the Guerrilla Gravity Megatrail, just click the link below or leave a comment and I'll get back to those. All right, that's it for me. You know what time it is. Don't watch too much YouTube or bike reviews, but go and ride your bike. Make sure you do it every day.